So the question here is basically, is he stronger? Is launched Leroy stronger than Tekken 5 Steve? This is an interesting comparison because Tekken 5 Steve, we have to judge them in the environment they are in, and one can say it's depending on how you look at it. You can look at this like Steve, Tekken 5 Steve versus launched Leroy, like so. Maybe in the Tekken 7 setting, maybe. But another way of looking at it is in their own environments, who was the strongest? And there, it's very straightforward. Leroy, launched Leroy, is like twice the strength of a character who is in second place. Launched Leroy was stronger than Akuma, way stronger than Akuma, Geese, everyone else. I don't care what character you mention. He was just unbelievably broken. And it should tell you all you need to know that, you know, where are we now? Like a year later, he's been nerfed many, many times. Like, my God, the amount of effort that has gone into nerfing him, and I don't know how many tools they've nerfed so far, and he still remains arguably, I would listen to someone who argues he's the best in the game. He's at least top 5, at the very least. And you could argue he's still the best, if you want to. He's just that damn good, and it's because his toolkit is too varied, it's too all-round, and it's way too effective. And the consistency is 100% considering there is zero execution involved. So again, launched Leroy in his environment was leaps ahead of everyone else. But if you look at Tekken 5 Steve, which is the character I would argue is the greatest Tekken character of all time, he was surrounded by characters that were almost equally broken. Had just ridiculous stuff that no one else had in Tekken 5. Like, Ryan was absurd. Nina, absurd. Feng Wei, absurd. There were a lot of characters that were crazy, but Steve was still definitely stronger than them. But yeah, Nina came pretty damn close. She was so dumb. Best Oki ever goes to Nina in Tekken 5. Completely busted. But so if one would argue in their specific environment and how much better they are than everyone else in their own games, I would give it to Leroy, hands down. And now if these characters would fight one another, well, they are both unbelievably broken. All Steve has to do is get one sidestep on Leroy, and Leroy dies. Steve def combos him. But again, launched Leroy, homing Hell Sweep. So I mean, if he keeps spamming that or back 4, the amount of space control he has, Steve never gets the sidestep on him. His homing is too strong. And he has a launched Leroy has a +7 on block, homing forward 3 that launches for 85 damage? And Steve needs a lot of technical skill to work. Leroy requires none. And as good as Steve is in Tekken 5, he does not have a 50-50. Leroy definitely has a 50-50. And that parry, launched Leroy's parry, is gonna come in handy versus Steve. And his, of course, unbelievably broken Pimp Cane. What, was it +8 on block? +7? It went from +7 to -8 on block. That's how you know they really fucked up the balancing on that. 15 frames of difference. 15 frames of difference. It's just unbelievable. So I mean, it's anyone's match, really. But you can definitely. I would have to say that Leroy honestly might be the most busted character of all time, just because of the environment he's in and the fact that the developers should know better by now. I mean, really? In what, 2019, you release a character that in Tekken 5 in 2005 would have been seen as a joke. I mean, basically up there with Steve. That's what you release in 2019. With all of the all of the incredible balancing work they've done since then. And Tekken 7 generally applauded for being a very toned down in terms of strength and balanced game. Where certainly there is some ridiculous stuff in there, but compared to many of the other games and older games, you know, it's at least a bit grounded. And everyone's somewhat has a chance. You know, again, I've talked about, like, if you go to Tekken 5, you know, the best character is here and the worst character is here. But in Tekken 7 Season 2, it was like this. Best characters here, worst characters here. They've narrowed the gap. Gigas is nowhere near Geese in Season 2. But he's still way stronger than, let's say, Kuma, who's completely useless in Tekken 5. Yeah, it's just unforgivable what they did to Leroy. And he's still a mess. And yeah, honestly, thinking about it, for all of these reasons, one would have to say Leroy is probably the most busted character of all time. And it's like, Steve is unbelievably broken in Tekken 5, but he can't do everything. Leroy can do everything. And it's no execution. I gotta get this phone call.